To be unfit is defined as disqualified or not being of necessary quality or standard. And as someone who has rebuilt herself from the inside out, I'm here to tell you that I know exactly what it feels like to be deemed as unfit by society, both physically, mentally, and even at times spiritually. Here's the thing though. Being unfit is nothing about failure. It is about transformation. At the root of it, transformation comes down to being able to admit where you are, to make moves necessary to promote change, positive change in the right direction. So if you resonate with this, I encourage you to lean in and let's talk about it. This is the Unfit Podcast with Monica Jackson. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unfit Podcast with Monica Jackson. I'm your host, Monica Jackson. Let's get right to it. Now, first of all, let me just kind of preference this. Obviously, you guys know that I'm in a different setting. One thing about my podcast that I'm very proud of is my ability to be able to connect with you guys and really talk about things that are more mindset focused and stuff like that. But here's the thing. Without movement, we get nowhere. Movement creates the clarity. So I want you guys to be able to connect deeply with the fact that although I'm talking about these mindset shifts, although I'm telling you how to love yourself, I'm telling you to take care of yourself, at the end of the day, without movement, you will not get clear about what it is that you want and what you need to do in order to achieve those things. So you're going to be watching me talk about these things as I create movement in my life. Okay, so let's get to it. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about what really matters when you first are trying to start a routine in the gym, okay? And before we can even talk about the gym and the routine and the exercises and the diet, what we first need to have a conversation about is you. The fact that you matter. Your injuries, your medical history, your illnesses, your movement, your previous history in fitness, your sports background. Those things matter when you're trying to figure out what you need to do in the gym. So before we even talk about the exercises, the routine, the diet, etc., we first need to have a conversation about you. You matter. Your medical history matters. Your illness or injury matters. Your movement or lack of it for the last few years, right? Your story. Those things matter when you're trying to get consistent in the gym, especially if your goal is a specific amount of results, weight loss, muscle gain, etc., etc. So if you're a person who has been doing everything right, you've been doing everything that you can do, saving the workouts, doing the recipes, trying to get more protein, trying to get more water, trying to get in the gym, but you're not seeing exactly what you want to see or feeling what you want to feel, then this very episode could be just for you. So the first thing that I want to tap on is the fact that you cannot heal what you will not look at. Yeah, I said it. You cannot heal what you won't look at, what you won't be aware of, what you won't be mindful of. And so for me, I used to think that I could outwork everything. Like, I really did. I used to think that if I just gained a little more muscle or lost a little more fat, got a little more routine, right? Lifted a little heavier, structured my life a little better, then I could outwork any amount of stress that I was under. Eventually, no matter how hard I worked, my body would burn out and eventually just say nope and shut down on me completely. And then I'm out of the game. I remember the exact day that I was laying on the floor having ladies go grab weights because I was so tired. I remember being that confused about what I needed to do and so conflicted in my daily routine and habits. I wasn't just tired. It wasn't just fatigue. My body was done for. My spirit was weary and I felt completely torn between what I wanted to do and what I needed to do. That moment made a big difference for me. It changed everything. It changed the way that I saw myself. It changed the way that I've seen fitness. That moment was a big wake-up call. I started really questioning everything. What is health? What does it mean to be structured and routine? What does it mean to be disciplined? What does it mean to be balanced? And what does Monica really need? Over the last 4 years or so, I've been learning a lot about myself and about my body. I've learned, about my own food sensitivities. I've learned that I also have ADHD. I've learned that I have Hashimoto's and lipedema and different health conditions that have forced me to focus on the fact that I have to live a balanced lifestyle all around. I cannot just think that I can outwork and outrun all of these things that are for real happening within inside of me. And that's not even touching on any of the mental health struggles, the depression, the anxiety, and different things that you feel at different points in your life. Have been postpartum, which have been some of the most trying and taxing times of my life. After I had my daughter at 32, I rushed back to fitness. I rushed back trying to be back and better than ever and all of these other things. And I just stressed myself into a point of sickness. That taught me so much about who I want to show up for, who I want to show up as a trainer, as a mom, and just as a person and a woman just being in this world. And again, just questioning, what is health? What does that even mean? And so I bring it back to that point, right? You can't heal what you won't look at. You have to make sure that you are being honest with yourself about where you've been, where you are, and where you want to go. So again, your body's history, your whole person history, it plays a lot of factors in how your body, your mind is going to react to new stimulus. So exercise, new foods, new routines, right? What is it that you actually need in order to show up as your best self? Talking about hormones. I'm talking about food sensitivities. I'm talking about your sleep. I'm talking about your lifestyle overall. I'm talking about how many kids you have. I'm talking about the amount of support that you have. Are you doing everything on your own? Because that makes a difference in what you're actually going to be able to sustain and do long enough to get the results that you'd like to see. So it's not about how hard you can go in the gym or how disciplined you can be. Most of the time, it has to do with understanding what your body's been through and sometimes what it's navigating, even still today. What is it working through? What does it need? What is it calling out for? Right? What is it that you're missing or lacking? Or what is it that you have too much of? Right? Where are the distractions? Where are the problems? Where are the solutions? And how can we then base a whole routine and schedule and a lifestyle that actually makes sense and that you can actually sustain and not burn out? One of the very first questions that I ask during a fitness assessment is, have you ever played a sport? And most of the time people respond like, oh, I did, but it was so long ago, or I did in high school. And the reason why I ask that question is because at the end of the day, once an athlete, always an athlete. Muscle memory is real. It's just like riding a bike. It might have been 20 years since the last time that you've been on a bike. And yeah, when you get on, you might wobble a little bit. You might even wreck. But at the end of the day, with some practice and some time, it'll come right back to you. That's exactly how it is when you have muscle. And my next question always comes down to, did you enjoy it? If you were just made to play basketball or volleyball or whatever, then I get it, right? It might not be something that still pertains to you or something that you still want. For example, if you really love volleyball, why don't you go bump a ball with your daughter out in the backyard every once in a while? If you genuinely enjoyed track, maybe running is part of your new routine. Fitness can be fun again. It doesn't have to be punishment. It doesn't have to be something that you only do because you hate yourself. It's actually got to be something that you enjoy to some degree. Your body definitely remembers what you used to do. Sometimes you just have to remind it. So before you dive into a whole new workout plan, a whole new routine, a whole new lifestyle, slow down. Seeing a doctor is very beneficial and sometimes very necessary. Ask a lot of questions. Sometimes it's not the plan that you need. Sometimes it's just understanding what's happening underneath the surface. So if you're going to hire a trainer, don't just hire the trainer with the cute reels, the one with the nice gym. Hire the one that will actually give a fuck about you, about the results, about the things that you want. Because a good trainer is going to ask you about you. They're going to ask you about your medical history. They're going to ask you about your goals, your obstacles, your current lifestyle, right? They're going to care. They're not just going to hand you some program, some meal plan that they've given to 1,000 other people. They're going to try their best to cater something that actually makes sense for you, makes sense for your goals, and the things that you want to achieve. You'll be a lot further when you understand that your body tells a story and you want a trainer. You want somebody there who's going to be willing to take the time to read the whole thing. Okay, not just get to the end and the results. So before you get all caught up in the perfect plan, we're going harder, maybe it's time to stop and think this through. Okay, make sure that you understand what it is that you need to do. Check in with your medical history. Your history matters. The things you've been through matters. Your healing matters. Your support level matters. And if any of those areas are lacking, something that needs to be accounted for and tackled with intention. So whether you used to be an athlete, whether you're postpartum, getting back to it after a long break, or just beginning, do not let anybody rush you. Not a trainer, not a trend, not even the little voice in your head that's telling you that you're behind. Your body will tell you what it is that you need. You just have to start listening to it. You're not broken. You're not starting from scratch. You're not starting from experience. And that is your strong foundation. Our affirmations for today are: my body is worthy of care, preparation, and strength. I honor my health history and I build from there. And movement, it can be fun for me again. That was it for this episode of the Unfit Podcast. I really hope that you found some value here. I hope that you found some encouragement here. And go do what you need to do. Okay? I love you very much. And that's it for this episode of the Unfit Podcast with Monica Jackson. If this resonated with you, I hope you'll hit follow and come back for more. Share with a friend who needs it and subscribe to join this community. And don't forget to download your free Unfit Podcast companion journal. It's filled with everything you need to turn inspiration into action. And until next time, take care of you.